So you think you want to be a hunting guide, do you?
Some days you're only getting 2 hours of sleep, and it can really get to you.
Really, we're 15 minutes in the shooting weight here, and we're done, and not in a good way.
Bottom line is, when the animals aren't talking and they're not on your property, there's not a whole lot you can do.
Kill him when you get it. What happened?
We're not being told what gear we can use. We only use the gear we believe and trust in, period.
There's the bear.
Do I sound like pain?
Good job, man.
First Montana mule deer.
We get this goat shot, and when he goes down, all these cows rush over. Never seen anything like it.
We're gonna spend the night here.
Congrats.
Thanks, Lenny. Really appreciate it, bud. A lot of hard work.
To finally get a chance to shoot one myself, it's pretty rewarding. I'm happy as heck to get the meat.
Just wait for him to come out. He's gonna step right in that opening.
We're eating good. Awesome meal.
Big disappointment tonight, first night.
I'm pissed.
Our time, our fuel, all that is gone. It's what we do.
I think he's 4.5. I hope I didn't let you down.
This hunt's for Logan, hitting the guide and my son.
He guarantees that we're gonna kill a turkey, and we'll see if he's lying or not.
Severe tornado warnings in effect to this area.
Yeah, we roll.
You know, your family back home that you grew up hunting with, you don't get to hunt with them anymore when you do this. It's tough.
It's been so long, those long hard days. They don't say God's changed my ways, 'cause I ain't changed my ways.
For Jerry Blake, his passion for hunting goes back to when he was just 10 years old, hunting rabbits and turkeys with his uncle, as his father wasn't a hunter. As the years went, Jerry found himself trying to decide what he wanted to do with his career.
I got into the construction business when I was 16 years old. It was pretty much all I knew for 10 years. I had dreamed about being a guide and going out west to Colorado, but just didn't think that it was possible or I could do it. In 2006, I woke up in the hospital. I got carbon monoxide poisoning so bad that the doctor told me that I should be dead. It was negligence on my boss's part. And after hearing that, I realized life was too short and I needed to go out to Colorado and pursue my dream of being an elk guide. I must have made a dozen phone calls to several different outfitters, and finally I got through to Larry Amos with Winterhawk Outfitters, and he told me to pack my bags right away and come out and he'd put me to work.
Jerry lived out of a wall tent for 6 months learning the ropes, guiding everything from fly fishing trips to elk and mule deer hunts, and then found himself back to the grind, doing construction back in his home state of New York, eventually running his own construction business. Construction just wasn't going to cut it. After swinging a hammer day in and day out, there was something that just kept drawing him back to the guiding world.
People ask me all the time, how does it feel not being able to pull the trigger myself? The truth is, I think I get more of a rush, and it's more exciting to me knowing that I'm guiding a hunter to an animal and a hunt of his lifetime. In 2011, my good friend Brad Lockwood gave me the opportunity to start my own outfitting business in New Mexico. And without blinking an eye, I was all in. And that's how LOH Outfitters was started.
After a couple of successful elk seasons under his belt in New Mexico, Jerry got his captain's license in 2013 and started chartering fishermen, knowing that he wanted to continue to guide not only hunting trips, but also fishing trips.
Just got this nice, looks like a Laker, right on the lead core. Woo!
Nice Laker.
Nice Laker, look at that. The hook just popped out too. I'm very dedicated to everything I do, whether it be guiding an elk hunter, guiding a fishing trip, or even construction.
January and February are now spent chasing steelhead into streams. March through August, the boat goes in the water and Jerry's running charters for trout and salmon fishermen.
Probably about You think 5 pounds?
Say 5-pounder.
5-pound fish?
Jerry goes back to his roots a little bit in May and gets to do some hunting for himself in the Turkey woods. When there's really nothing to hunt and fish, you guessed it, that's when Jerry's construction business ramps up.
Over the last 15 years, the construction business has definitely taken a big toll on my body. I've got aches and pains, and my back hurts every day on the job, and wrist hurts from swinging a hammer. You know, being out in the mountains and packing out an elk quarter on your back is definitely no joke. It's a lot of work, and it's real hard work, but there's a certain reward that comes along with that, and waking up the next morning, I love to go out there and do it all over again. August has got to be my favorite time of year. I know elk season's right around the corner, and it's going to be time to pack up and head out west. I think as a guide, one of the biggest tolls you have to pay is the time away from your family. I can't thank Jackie enough for the support that she gives me while I'm gone.
It is really hard at times with him being so far away and not having cell phone service and not talking as much as I want to, but we both share a passion for the outdoors. So I know that it's what he really loves to do, and I support him 100%.
That's pretty dang good for as much as your bow's moving around.
Hopefully his business does grow where I can be able to do it with him, and I just support him in any way that I possibly can and always stand behind him.
This year's a little different than most. My wife is 8 months pregnant with our first child. I've got about a 2-week break between archery and muzzleloader season, and it just so happens that that's the exact time when my wife is due. It's definitely hard packing up my truck, heading out west, knowing that there's a chance that I could miss the birth of my first son. But this is my job, it's my passion, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
For Lenny Miller, growing up on a dairy farm didn't allow much time or money for vacations. You would think that would bother a youngster, but it didn't for him.
Growing up, I was consumed with hunting, fishing, and baseball. Baseball treated me well, and I chased that dream for several years. But in the end, it's not what I was put here to do. At age 18, I had a decision to make. I tried college for a little while, but it wasn't for me. And I soon realized that I couldn't make a solid living as a dairy farmer.
Lenny had decided several years prior, after some severe health problems, that he wasn't going to do something his whole life he wasn't passionate about.
Farming not only taught me a great and valuable work ethic, but it also gave me a great appreciation for the outdoors. For 6 years, I kept a daily log of what all the whitetail deer were doing on our farms. Hunting with my family was and still is very important to me, but I wanted more. I wanted to know why and when deer were doing what they were doing. It became an obsession.
Now it's deer, elk, turkey, bear, or whatever else Lenny can chase around the countryside.
The decision to become a hunting guide, that wasn't a tough one for me. I really live and breathe this profession.
It doesn't come without complications, though. For starters, it's not a year-round job.
I have a construction business that I run in the off-season. It's a job, and it's a really good trade to know, but it's not what I'm meant to be doing. The one good thing to being in the home improvement business, roofing, or any other aspect of the job is it keeps you in shape. You're climbing ladders, you're bringing shingles on the roof, and that's very important for what we do in the fall, being ready to go as soon as we get there. You know, all summer long you're sweating, you're soaked, you're tired, and that's exactly what you look forward to or what you face when you're guiding elk hunters. Doesn't matter if you're in Montana or New Mexico. So as much as I cuss this profession, as much as I hate getting out of bed in the morning to be soaking wet by 8:30, there is a benefit to it. One of the biggest drawbacks to guiding is the time away from family. I'm away from home for over 150 days a year. We've already been away from family for pushing 40 days now, and we still got another 50 to go. And it's tough. You're running on no sleep. I don't know if you can hear the washer right now. We're trying to get a load of clothes done so we can get packed up and get the heck out of here to get down to New Mexico. But we love what we do, but man, it's hard. You got to make a lot of choices that you wish you didn't have to make, or if you had a normal job, you wouldn't have to make. I've been guiding for over 17 years now, and I wouldn't change it for anything. I've been very fortunate to have guided my hunters to over 500 animals.
In the early spring months, Lenny finds himself in the woods, scouting and preparing for the upcoming fall, although he won't be able to hunt it himself.
We're out here putting out our mineral licks. We're also checking out our tree stands. Like this one right here, we're going to have to do some cleaning up to the tree before hunting season gets here. So in August, when we're in here checking cameras, we'll come in, clean that out, check the stand, make sure all the straps and cables are good, make sure we're ready to go when deer season starts. This particular spot is where I killed my 137. My brothers killed a 133.8 right here, and my boy's first buck died not 5 yards from where we're shooting this. And you might wonder why I'm out here doing that, because I don't get to hunt hardly at all back here in Maryland in the fall because I'm out west guiding, I'm on the road with the show. But family and the heritage of hunting, you know, is very important to me. I miss not being here when everybody else is out hunting. I look forward to the stories and, you know, being on the phone, knowing which spots they're at, and knowing when they're telling the story, I can visualize exactly what's going on. So still being able to be here, run the licks, the cameras, and help with the tree stands, it's still real important to me. From year to year, things change. This particular piece of property, it's in my home state. We farm it. I knew they were doing some clearing. I came in here today and was in awe at what they've done. The fence rows they've taken out, back to the west, another bunch of timber. This was a really good spot for us to deer hunt. And what I'm gonna have to do now is I'm gonna have to come in, learn everything the deer are doing, because their patterns are going to change to adapt to these fence lines being gone and an acre of timber here and there. The good thing about it for me being a guide, it helps me stay sharp on what I have to do to learn, and learn quickly, the animals and how they change given changes in their environment.
For a guide traveling across country, there is a lot of time to think about what the upcoming season could hold. Lenny and Jerry are both headed west to kick off their guiding seasons. Jerry is on his way to the land of enchantment, while Lenny is arriving in Big Sky country.
Well, we're finally here. After 36 hours in the pickup, we're finally back in Montana at Rawhide Guide Service, and I'm pretty pumped to be here. We're going to get unpacked, go say hello to everybody, and get ready to go out for our first night scouting session. We scheduled our hunts this year. We did it a little differently than most people normally would do. Our first 3 elk hunts, for example, are starting off hunting under a full moon. And we're doing this to kind of show the effects of what the full moon actually does to the game that we're hunting.
Scouting is something that involves a lot of time spent in the field. It helps give you the edge you need, getting yourself one step closer to figuring out these animals.
For me to be successful, I need to cover as much ground as possible. My truck, binoculars, and spotting scope are 3 of my biggest tools while scouting. It's the day before bow season. We're up here doing some scouting, and we just spotted a herd of elk down here about a mile away. They're coming off the alfalfa fields, heading back into bed. It's a great sign to see them up moving this late with the full moon that we got going right now. We'll be right back here tomorrow with Bryan Koontz, our hunter for the week, and see what we can get done. We'll stay with these elk until we can make something happen. While we're down here in this canyon, I wanted to take the time to explain thermals. Thermals are very important when you're hunting mountain country. As you can see behind me, over here off my right shoulder, that hillside is fully in the sun. Right now, those thermals are rising. The hillside to the left is in the shade. Those thermals are coming down. When you're hunting this, you always got to be aware of that, because once you get into the middle, you're getting a big time swirling effect, which can really blow your opportunity at game. A lot of times when we're hunting, we'll spot an animal early in the morning and we'll watch him till 10, 10:30, 11 o'clock, sometimes even later, to wait for those thermals to stabilize, so then we can make our move and do it with the confidence that we're going to have the wind in our favor.
Bryan arrived midday, giving him plenty of time to get settled in.
Hey, what's up, man?
What do you say, Bryan? Good seeing you.
You too. You too.
What do you think?
What is it? Looks awesome.
This is our Hunter's Comfort Rack Shack 3 blind.
That's pretty cool. Are you guys gonna set it up for the winter time stuff? Rifle hunt?
We're going to set it up. We hope to get it out here the next couple days. We may actually bow hunt out of it some.
What was that, like spray foam? Spray insulation?
That's closed cell foam.
It's perfect for you guys out here. I mean, my father-in-law was talking about coming out with you guys, and he's 80 years old, you know? You could put some of your older guys in this, and sleeping in it during the archery season sounds perfect.
If you'll notice, Bryan's practicing with his backpack on and his binoculars and his rangefinder. That's very good practice, because when you're elk hunting, you're running and gunning all the time. You don't have time to drop your pack and all that stuff. So this is simulating real life instances out in the field. Real life practice leads to real life good results. Bryan's first night in camp. We're headed back up to Spring Creek. We were there last night, and right at dark saw a herd of elk come down to the alfalfa field. So I'm taking Bryan up there tonight to let him see what the country's like and what we're dealing with. And hope we see him again, and we'll make a game plan for tomorrow.
Sounds good. Let's hit it.
Bryan and I are up here. We're actually scouting for elk. And I was glassing back over here, and about a mile and a half away, spotted a really good mule deer buck. And Bryan's actually looking at him in the spotting scope right now. So now we're kind of in a dilemma. We already have a plan for tomorrow morning to hunt elk, and this big guy shows up. So we'll have to wait and see here and kind of play our odds and see which way we want to go come morning.
There's a bear. Big bear.
The archery season's going to open up here, and what are we down to?
A couple hours.
10 hours. And spotted like a 280, 290 bull this morning. Probably a 170 type mule deer tonight. And then Bryan's good eyes picked out that 200-pound black bear, which is not on us right now, but it's working up that creek bottom right to us. So the next couple days, we're gonna look to put something on the ground.
Last night we had this conversation, and I said the thing that pisses me off the most when a hunter wears his hunting clothes in the kitchen.
So here we go. It's opening morning of the Montana bow season, and we're trying to locate a herd of elk in the pickup truck. The last thing we want to do is blow this herd out.
You sit up here, you realize how small you really are. And for a guy back east, the first time on an elk hunt, he's sitting here with a bow, going, how in the world? In all this country, all this space, do you get close enough to make it happen?
As hunting typically goes, things change. But lucky for us, Bryan not only has an elk tag in his pocket, but a deer and bear tag as well. The elk this morning were 4 miles to the east and weren't in a spot where we could get at them. But fortunately for us, we found a bachelor group of muley bucks that were.
This is what we call the stocking foot stalk. You know, it's interesting when I'm hunting this way, when we're putting on the stalk, I'm much more calm and confident. It's like, I feel, I don't know if it sounds weird, but I feel much more like the predator than when I'm just sitting in the tree stand and waiting for them to walk by. I got way too much time on my hands and I'm sitting in the tree stand and let my mind play tricks on me.
We just put a stalk on a couple mule deer. The spot they're laying in is not the best, the big bucks. Got some satellites circling, sitting right around them. There's no way we can really get to the one we want. So instead of pushing the issue, we just backed out. We got 7 more days. They'll hang right there as long as we don't bump them, and we'll try them again another day when they're in a better spot.
Around midday, I made the decision to hang a set in a lone clump of cottonwoods. It's a risky decision, given the unsteady winds in the draw, but one that could pay off.
I think we're going for a hike.
Looks like the bears are definitely in the area.
It had become obvious to me we were going to be hunting two main spots. Tonight, we're headed back up to Spring Creek to get up on a high vantage point to Glass.
I know it feels a little bit like a waste of time. Our long range look at today. Early in the hunt, man, you play it safe. You make a good, solid game plan. That's where success comes from.
In my opinion, hunting is a cat and mouse game of strategic movements. I didn't feel we had a play at this point.
The end of the first day of the hunt here in Montana, and as we're walking back out after watching about 100 or so head of elk, this is the view that greets us as we get back to the truck.
Next time on Guidefitter.
I don't know what just happened, but we had the perfect setup. There's the bear.
The full moon is still dealing the cards.
The moon's still flipping them out.
Yep. It's like a perfect scenario. We got elk to hunt on one side, muleys on this side.
We're about to get stuck. And seeing how this game is played, man.
Hello, we're here.
Oh, man.